Hello students, I am VLN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Science, which is affiliated to Adikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry. Now I would like to discuss about second BSc Biochemistry 4th semester paper, that is intermediary metabolism. From this paper we are seeing about the topics from unit 2. Now let's see the topic that we have discussed in the last class. That means we should continue the topic from the last class, that is de novo synthesis of fatty acid. So we have discussed about the second step. We'll continue this de novo synthesis of fatty acids in de novo synthesis of fatty acids. So this is nothing but the synthesis of, just let's see the process once again in a cut short manner. So here this is nothing but the synthesis of fatty acids, and this occurs in liver, kidneys, adipose tissues and lactating mammary glands. And the enzymes which are essential for the production of this particular de novo synthesis of fatty acids are commonly seen in cytosol. So here the first step, here we'll have three steps, that is formation or production of acetyl-CoA and NADPH, conversion of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA, reactions of fatty acid synthase complex. So here in the first step we can understand this location properly. Why? Because acetyl-CoA, which is not synthesized in the cytosol, it is produced in the mitochondria. Whatever the pyruvate is produced from the glycolysis, it will enter the mitochondria, where it will produce acetyl CoA and oxaloacetate. But here this acetyl CoA, it should enter cytosol for the production of fatty acids. Why? Because the enzymes which are responsible for the fatty acids are present in the cytosomal fractions of the cell. So here acetyl-CoA should enter the cytosol. And here the another problem is acetyl-CoA is not permeable to the mitochondrial membrane. It is impermeable. It cannot pass through the mitochondrial membrane. So for this reason, acetyl-CoA will combine with oxaloacetate, which is produced in the mitochondria from the pyruvate, and it is converted into citrate, and in the form of citrate it will pass the mitochondrial membrane and it will enter the cytosol. And this cytosol, in this cytosol, acetyl CoA will carry the further production process. Here for this production of fatty acids, this also require NADPH, and for this NADPH what happens, citrate is converted into malate and malate to pyruvate, during which this particular NADPH is produced. So whatever the NADPH and acetyl CoA produced from citrate will be carrying the next step, that is conversion of acetyl CoA to malonyl CoA. So here one important point is, whatever the citrate which entered cytosol from the mitochondria, this is cleaved to acetyl CoA and oxaloacetate, and here the enzyme is citrate lyase, which will liberate acetyl CoA from the oxaloacetate, and this acetyl CoA is converted into malonyl CoA, and here the enzyme is acetyl CoA carboxylase, which will convert acetyl CoA to malonyl CoA. So this is the first two stages which we commonly see in the de novo synthesis of fatty acids. And we have also seen about the enzyme fatty acid synthase complex. So here the third step is reactions of fatty acid synthase complex. So just sorry. So see the reactions here. So first step is acetyl CoA. So this acetyl CoA is converted into acetylates ACP. So this is the first step. Before that, we should know about the fatty acid synthase complex. Fatty acid synthase complex. This is the multi-enzyme complex which is responsible for the third stage in the de novo synthesis of fatty acid. This is a multi-enzyme complex with 7 enzymes. So this particular fatty acid synthase is a dimer composed of two similar subunits. Dimer composed of two similar subunits. Okay. So here we'll have 7 enzymes and one SL carrier protein. So these particular enzymes will help the reactions in the de novo synthesis of fatty acid. So let's see the third step, that is de novo reactions with fatty acid synthase complex. Reactions of fatty acid synthase complex. So here the remaining reactions of fatty acids are catalyzed by the multifunctional enzyme known as fatty acid synthase complex. And in eukaryotic cells, including man, the fatty acid synthase complex exists as dimer with two identical subunits. So as I said earlier, this particular fatty acid synthase is a multi-enzyme complex or multifunctional enzyme with similar and two similar dimers. And this kind of fatty acid synthase is present in eukaryotic cells, mostly in humans also. And each monomer possesses the activity of 7 enzymes. What are the 7 enzymes? Ketoacyl synthase, acetyl transacylase, and malonyl transacylase, thioesterase, acetyl ketoacyl reductase, enol reductase, dehydratase. So these are the 7 enzymes, and these are combined with 4-phosphopentane, and also a acyl carrier protein is also present in this particular fatty acid synthase complex. And now let's see the sequence of reactions here. So here whatever the fatty acid synthase complex is there, this will carry this particular series of reactions. So here in the first reaction, what happens is the two carbon fragment acyl CoA, it is transferred to ACP of fatty acid synthase. So here what happens, acyl carrier protein will receive this acyl CoA. It is transferred to the acyl carrier protein of fatty acid synthase, and this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme acetyl CoA ACP transacylase. Acetyl CoA ACP transacylase. And the next step is the enzyme malonyl CoA ACP transacylase. It will transfer malonyate from malonyl CoA to bind to this acyl carrier protein. So let's see the structures to get better idea. So here what happened first, this acetyl CoA is transferred to the ACP, that is acyl carrier protein. So this CH3C double bond is transferred to the acyl carrier protein, which is present in the fatty acid synthase. So the enzyme is acetyl CoA ACP transacylase. That means acetyl CoA acyl carrier protein transacylase is the enzyme. And next step, so this particular malonyl CoA is transferred to the another part of the fatty acid synthase complex, that is forming, as a result of this it will form acyl malonyl. This will form acyl malonyl enzyme. Okay, and this is catalyzed by the enzyme malonyl CoA acyl carrier protein transacylase. So here malonyl group is structure is COO minus CH2C double bond O. The same carbon fragment is attached to the cysteine. So if you see here, this acyl carrier protein will receive this malonyl CoA, and whatever the acyl group is present, it will be shifted to the cysteine. So if you observe here, first step is transfer of acetyl CoA to the acyl carrier protein. So we have this, and later what happens is transfer of acetyl group to cysteine will be seen. So whatever the C double bond OCH3 is present to the acyl carrier protein group, it is transferred to the cysteine. Now this acyl carrier protein group is free, and this malonyl CoA will be transferred by the enzyme malonyl CoA ACP transacylase. Malonyl CoA ACP transacylase. So this is the first two steps, major steps that we see in this particular de novo synthesis of fatty acids. So now let's see the remaining steps now. So malonyl CoA is transferred to the ACP now, and the acyl unit attached to cysteine is transferred to malonyl group. So whatever the acyl group is present on the cysteine is transferred to ACP now. That means in the before step, what we have got on the cysteine group, we have C double bond OCH3, and in the bottom will have ACP, that is acyl carrier protein, to which this C double bond OCH2 COO minus is present. So this particular acetyl group which is present on the cysteine is again transferred to the acyl carrier protein. Then we'll get C double bond O CH2 C double bond O CH3. Okay, and this product is called as beta keto acyl ACP. So what we call it as beta keto acyl ACP. So this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme beta keto acyl ACP synthase. So this reaction is catalyzed by beta keto acyl ACP synthase. Now let's see the reaction. So whatever the acyl group present with the cysteine is transferred to the is transferred to the ACP by and forming beta ketoacyl ACP, and this is catalyzed by the enzyme beta ketoacyl ACP synthase. Okay, now let's see the next step. So in the next step what happens is this beta ketoacyl ACP reductase will reduce a ketoacyl group to hydroxyacyl group. Okay, so this there will be for there will be addition of one hydrogen water molecule to the this compound called beta ketoacyl ACP. So it will be by addition of one water molecule, it is converted into beta hydroxyl acyl ACP. So on the acyl carrier protein we can see C double bond O, CH2, CHOH, CH3, and this is carried by the enzyme beta ketoacyl ACP reductase. Beta ketoacyl ACP reductase. Okay, and this step is a NADPH dependent step. NADPH dependent step. So here this beta ketoacyl ACP reductase, it will reduce ketoacyl group to form hydroxyacyl group. To form hydroxyacyl group, and the reducing equivalents are produced by supplied by NADPH. Okay, so let's see the step. So here beta ketoacyl ACP reductase, by its activity it will form a CHOH group, and here NADPH is also utilized, and here beta ketoacyl ACP reductase is the major enzyme. So finally we have got beta hydroxyl acyl ACP. Beta hydroxyl acyl ACP. So now let's see what happens next. So here this beta hydroxyacyl ACP undergoes dehydration by a molecule of water. That means a water molecule will be helped during this reaction for conversion of this beta hydroxyl acyl ACP into this trans enoyl ACP. So here what happens, this beta hydroxyl ACP undergoes dehydration, that means removal of a water molecule, and also a double bond will be introduced between alpha and beta carbon atoms, So here the formation of double bond is seen between alpha and beta carbon atoms. Now let's see the reaction. So now let's see the reactions. So this beta hydroxyl acyl ACP is converted into trans-enoyl ACP. If you see the structure here, elimination of one water molecule is seen, and formation of double bond between the alpha and beta carbon atoms, and we have got trans enoyl ACP by the enzyme beta hydroxyl acyl ACP dehydratase. So let's see the next step. So next, a second NADPH dependent reduction catalyzed by enoyl ACP reductase occurs to produce acyl ACP, and the 4 carbon atom attached to ACP is butyl group. At the end of the 7 cycles, the fatty acid synthesis is complete and a 6 carbon fully saturated fatty acid, namely palmitate bound to ACP, is produced. So what happens here? Here series of reactions will be carried. So initially what happens is acyl ACP butyryl form will be produced, and this is a NADPH dependent reduction and catalyzed by the enzyme enoyl ACP reductase. Okay, so here what happens is C double bond O CH2 CH2 CH3 will be produced. Whatever the double bond produced, it will be reduced. It will be reduced. And now acyl ACP is produced, and we can also call it as butyryl acyl ACP with butyryl group. And after this what happens means transfer of carbon chain from acyl carrier protein to cysteine will be seen. So whatever the side chain is present at the acyl carrier protein is transferred to the cysteine, and it is carried by acyl S enzyme, and after 2 to 6 repeated reactions, what happens is palmityl thioesterase enzyme will act to produce palmitate separately. So here what happens? Palmitate chain will be produced at the acyl carrier protein. At the acyl carrier protein. At the acyl carrier protein. So after formation of this acyl palmitate at the acyl carrier protein, by the action of the palmitoyl thioesterase, this palmitate can be easily separated from the fatty acid synthase complex, and palmitate is free from its so see the reactions here. So after formation of this acyl trans enoyl ACP, by the action of enoyl ACP reductase, acyl ACP with butyryl group is formed. This is a NADPH dependent enzyme, and here C double bond O CH2 CH2 CH3 is produced. And now what happens? Whatever the C double bond O CH2 CH2 CH3 is present, it is transferred to the cysteine from acyl carrier protein, and reactions of 2 to 6 repetitions will be seen to form palmitate. So all the process will be repeated to produce this palmitate side chain, and by the activity of this palmitoyl thioesterase utilizing one water molecule, so this palmitate will be separated, that is CH3 CH2 CH2 thrice COO minus. Finally we have got a new fatty acid, that is palmitate. So this is how fatty acids are synthesized in our body. And you can also understand how carbohydrate metabolism is related to fatty acid metabolism. Okay, so we have another small topic called synthesis of triacyl glycerols. Let's see about that. So now the topic is synthesis of triacyl glycerols. Synthesis of triacyl glycerols. So triacyl glycerols are also important fat products Now let's see how these are synthesized. And these triacyl glycerols, these are synthesized mostly in the liver and adipose tissues, and in very less quantity these are produced in other tissues also. Okay, so mostly produced in liver and adipose tissue, and in very less quantities these are produced in other tissues also. Okay, so for this triacyl glycerol synthesis, initially there should be activation of glycerol, and uh, it will be followed in the biosynthesis of this particular triacyl glycerols. So here there should be activation of glycerol must be seen. So in the first step, glycerol 3 phosphate is synthesized from glycerol. So in the first step what happens? Glycerol 3 phosphate is synthesized from the glycerol, and the enzyme is glycerol kinase, and the enzyme is glycerol kinase. So mostly this triacyl glycerol synthesis is seen in two steps, that is synthesis of glycerol 3 phosphate and addition of acyl groups to form triacyl glycerol. So the first step is a simple uh, single step reaction, that is formation of glycerol from the glycerol, formation of glycerol 3 phosphate from the glycerol directly. So here the enzyme glycerol kinase will act on glycerol to form glycerol 3 phosphate. So here nothing but addition of a phosphate group at the third carbon atom will convert glycerol into a glycerol 3 phosphate, and here the phosphate will be donated by the ATP. Obviously, kinases means these kinases are ATP dependent enzymes. ATP dependent enzymes. So, see here. So, here two mechanisms are involved in the synthesis of glycerol 3 phosphate. So, in liver what happens is glycerol is activated by glycerol kinase. Glycerol is activated by glycerol kinase, and this enzyme is absent in adipose tissue. So here mostly this glycerol 3 phosphate is glycerol is activated in liver and adipose tissue. Why? Because only triacyl glycerols are synthesized in larger quantities in liver and adipose tissue. So here glycerol is activated in liver easily by the enzyme glycerol kinase, but in adipose tissue glycerol kinase is absent. So in both liver and adipose tissue, glucose serves as a precursor for glycerol 3 phosphate. So what happens here? Glycerol 3 phosphate will not present, and in that place glucose will act as the precursor, and from this glucose glycerol 3 phosphate is produced. So how it is produced, let's see. So whatever the dihydroxy acetone phosphate is produced during the glycolysis is reduced to glycerol 3 phosphate. It is reduced to glycerol 3 phosphate. So let's see that reaction. So in liver, simply glycerol is converted into glycerol 3 phosphate by the enzyme glycerol kinase. So here CH2OH is the glycerol structure, and it is converted into glycerol 3 phosphate. If you see the difference between glycerol and glycerol 3 phosphate, we have addition of a phosphate group in the third carbon atom, and this is a ATP dependent reaction, and one phosphate is donated to the glycerol, converting it into a glycerol 3 phosphate. So this happens in liver. And in case of adipose tissue, due to the absence of this glycerol kinase, let's see what happens. So here in adipose tissue, glucose is converted into DHAP in sequence of reactions. Okay, so glucose is converted into glucose 6 phosphate, and next fructose 6 phosphate, next fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, and by splitting of this fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, DHAP and G3P will be produced. And now this DHAP is directly converted into glycerol 3 phosphate by the enzyme glycerol 3 phosphate dehydrogenase. Glycerol 3 phosphate dehydrogenase. It is a NADH dependent enzyme. And here what happens? In few cases, DHAP is converted into 1-acyl DHAP. That means, of course, it's in the next step. Just if we see till this glycerol 3 phosphate, DHAP is directly converted into glycerol 3 phosphate by the enzyme glycerol 3 phosphate dehydrogenase. So, in liver and in adipose tissue. So, this is how these two organs are carrying their first step in the synthesis of triacyl glycerols. Okay. So, the next stage is addition of acyl groups to form triacyl glycerol. Addition of triacyl glycerols to form triacyl glycerol. So, whatever the glycerol 3 phosphate is produced, this glycerol 3 phosphate will be converted into lysophosphatidic acid. Lysophosphatidic acid. So, here it is directly converted into lysophosphatidic acid by the enzyme glycerol 3 phosphate acyl transferase. Glycerol 3 phosphate acyl transferase, it will catalyze the transfer of acyl group to produce lysophosphatidic acid. And alternative method is conversion of DHAP to 1-acyl DHAP, and this 1-acyl DHAP is converted into lysophosphatidic acid. So here this 1-acyl DHAP is converted into lysophosphatidic acid by the enzyme 1-acyl DHAP reductase. 1-acyl DHAP reductase. Okay. And another acyl group is added to lysophosphatidic acid to form phosphatidic acid. And this is catalyzed by the enzyme acyl transferase. Acyl transferase will convert lysophosphatidic acid into phosphatidic acid. And let's see the steps till now. So we have got G3P in two ways, from liver and from adipose tissue. So now this G3P should be acylated. So here the enzyme glycerol 3 phosphate acyl transferase will transfer an acyl group to the to form lysophosphatidic acid. Okay. So observe the structure CH2O C double bond O R1, that is first side chain, and CHOH CH2O P, that is lysophosphatidic acid. And on the other hand, another alternative method, that is from DHAP. This DHAP can be converted into 1-SL-DHAP, and this 1-SL-DHAP is converted into lysophosphatidec acid by the enzyme 1-acyl-DHAP reductase. Okay. So now the next step is conversion of lysophosphatidec acid to phosphatidic acid. That means another group of acyl is transferred to this lysophosphatidec acid to form phosphatidic acid, and the enzyme catalyzing here is acyl transferase. Acyl transferase. So this is it. Now let's see the next one. So the enzyme phosphatase will cleave phosphate present in the phosphatidic acid to produce diacyl glycerol. So here the phosphate group is separated from the phosphatidic acid by the enzyme phosphatase to form diacyl glycerol. So here phosphatidic acid and diacyl glycerol both are phospholipids. Okay. So here one more important point to be added is these phosphatidic acid and diacyl glycerols are important phospholipids. And now let's see the reaction. So here phosphatidic acid is converted into diacyl glycerol by the removal of a phosphate group is removed, and the enzyme is phosphatase. And the final step, this diacyl glycerol is converted into triacyl glycerol by the addition of a acyl group by acyl transferase enzyme. Finally, we have got this triacyl glycerol. So this is about biosynthesis of triacyl glycerols. Okay. So here the intermediates of triacyl glycerol synthesis, phosphatidic acid and diacyl glycerol, also utilized for phospholipid synthesis. They undergo phospholipid synthesis. So this is about this triacyl glycerol biosynthesis. Write notes properly, and if you have any doubts, please contact me. Thank you, students.